that room may be getting tremendous amounts of moisture. Well, you don't want to use a paper because paper is absorbent. It's like a paper towel, and it will soak up the moisture. It will go right through, and it will get to the wheat paste or starch paste. And paste and moisture together in a bathroom are a recipe for black mold growth. Okay? What you want to do in a bathroom is use a sheet vinyl, at the very least, to prevent water from going through the vinyl part, not getting to the paste that's in back of it. The water rolls off and it can last for a long time. You take it, pull on it, and it comes off just like a Band-Aid. The wall is clean, maybe a little glaze of paste, but nothing like the other types. We have a cloth. Don't use plastic, don't use newspapers. They get really annoying. You can slip on plastic that's wet. It doesn't absorb any water, so it will drip right past it onto your wood floor. Use old towels, cotton towels are good. Obviously, what's going on with this wallpaper is that it has a good bit of vinyl coating, which helped it all during the time it was up to repel dirt. And now it's preventing steam from going through as it would a plain paper. All right, let's go. Here we go. There you go. Plastic sheeting really holds the water well, tight to the wall, doesn't drip down. Really a good technique. Okay, let's see. Are we ready? I know we're ready. Look at that. Look at this. As you saw, it goes from dry to removal in what? Maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes? And what it does is kind of shocks the adhesive that's right on the top of garbage paint or a cheap paint. And you may get more action out of a steamer in that case. But in this case, not at all. This is not the place to use a steamer. This is a place to use water and time. I misted it about 4 or 5 times over the course of an hour. And this is what happens after you let the water do the work. Some may say, are you going to prime the surface that you've exposed here? And in this case, I would say, no, it doesn't need priming. It's held up for 30 years or however long. It probably has an old non-VOC oil. We're going to talk about that. And so I would consider this area ready to be wallpapered on. This particular sample here expands very little from dry to wet. Now here you have a sample of a different wallpaper, and it shows that it actually expands about twice as much as the sample that I just showed you. How about this one? This one expands an awful lot, almost a full inch, let's say 3/4 of an inch, from dry to wet. What this means is that when it takes on the water, it changes in size, and the important thing to remember is that when it loses the water, most materials want to shrink back to the size they were when they were dry. And it's that contractor's paint that what you're hoping to do is recondition. Now I'm going to show you how to tell before you hang any wallpaper, and even on the estimate you can do this. You can do a little test to see what kind of shape that paint is and what type of paint it is. Is it a good quality paint or a really bad quality paint? And that will affect your price for the preparation of the wall. The final issue is what happens years from now when someone goes to remove the wallpaper. This paper facing damage, sheetrock damage, whatever you want to call it, this is all preventable if you have a good quality primer. Is X tests, and hopefully the X test will show how this stuff behaves after it has been soaking and hopefully not softening up after extended soaking. If you take the piece of wallpaper to the wall too soon, that is, before it is completely relaxed and booked, what happens is the fibers will continue to expand when they're on the wall, And what happens then is that bubbles appear. The clay paste was Romans 774. The clear, that's premixed clear, brand X, was Dynamite 234. The clear Y brand is Romans 838. And the clear Z brand is Romans 880. The clear brand Y, that's the Romans 838, is just starting to show moisture coming through. Romans 880, which is the clear Z, and their 774 clay show absolutely no indication of moisture wet out. For those of you who are watching this video outside of the United States and looking at products that you've never seen before, I invite you to do the same test on your own local brands. Take a little spoonful of the paste you're using, put it on a piece of brown paper bag, and take a look. This is a good test. It's going to help you determine how long you need to wait when you book something and how you're going to avoid bubbling. You can always test the material before you hang it. There's no law against that. I have a heat gun in my truck. If I see a paper that looks like it might be very porous and I want to know, can I get paste on it? Is it going to be a problem? I'll smear a little bit on, wipe it off carelessly, and then dry it out with a hairdryer and take a look at it in the light in a sharp angle and see if it's cleanable. Check out what happens when I spray the back of this non-woven material with window cleaner. Window cleaner is very quickly penetrating, but just imagine this was some other sort of stain. Look at that. Within just a matter of seconds. Now for the British pulp papers, or what paper hangers call paper papers, which are papers without any sort of vinyl at all, yet have a pulp paper material as their ground paper, here's a list of what paper hangers discuss endlessly about which is the best paste to use. And she was very surprised to find that they didn't have any of the premixed pastes that we have here in the USA. And she asked me, what should I do? The problem was she had edge curling, so she needed a high-tack paste, but there was no high-tack premix. So what do you do if you're in a part of the world where you just can't get any of these premixeds? I know they're difficult to get in some areas because they weigh a lot, and transportation costs or shipping costs internationally are extremely expensive. So what do you do? All right, this is for anyone, anywhere, who can get to some sort of starch and mix it up. So here we go. I'm going to bet that you can at least get a box of some sort of powdered paste. It's on a full flame, and it takes a while for it to actually start to thicken up. About 20 minutes, I would guess. So I put the unmodified potato starch in the water, and I stir, and I stir, and I stir. After what seems like a very long time, you can see the paste starting to thicken up, like a nice soup. When it gets to this point, I usually let it cook for another 10 minutes to get it really fluffy. After that 10 minutes has elapsed, I take it off the heat and I let it cool. And there you have it. Look at that spoon standing up. It's a very, very nice paste, and it works very well.